Football, the Unyielding Card Master Strikes Back. Like, share and subscribe. Episode 16. Hey buddy, let her go. When Jiang Ning saw this scene, he immediately spoke up to stop it. The duty of the security guard is to ensure the safety of the people on the court. And at this time, the interview was underway, and in order not to affect the progress of the interview, the security guard forcibly dragged away the fan who rushed down from the audience. Even when Jiang Ning's voice was heard, the security guard still insisted on pulling the woman out. The reporter on the side saw the woman being pulled away, so he continued to ask questions. Reporter, then may I ask? However, before the reporter's question was finished, Jiang Ning stopped and interrupted her. Sorry, please wait. After Jiang Ning finished speaking, he directly turned around and walked quickly towards the woman who was dragged away. Hey, let her go. Jiang Ning said to the security guard. However, she is not a staff member, and we will not allow it. The security guard looked at the referee from Huaxia in front of him and had some doubts. It's okay, don't be so nervous. Jiang Ning patted him on the shoulder and motioned for him to let go. Immediately, Jiang Ning reached out and took the paper and pen in the woman's hand, and signed his name and date on it. Jiang Ning, you were too handsome when you were punished, you made me feel the charm of a Huaxia man. I will always support you, you have to continue to cheer. By the way, can I take a picture with you? The woman said excitedly, and the Jiang Ning's signature in her hand was also carefully dragged in her hand, like a treasure. Of course. Jiang Ning stood side by side with the woman, facing the camera of her mobile phone and showing a hint of a smile. Jiang Ning did not refuse, smiled slightly, and accepted generously. After the group photo, the foreign woman plucked up courage and excitedly gave Jiang Ning a big hug. And said that this is the most handsome referee she has ever seen and will always support him in the future. And all this was clearly captured by reporters and cameras who caught up, and broadcast live all over the world in real time. Jiang Ning's actions undoubtedly touched the hearts of many fans. It's also too good for fans, compared to the group of people who say, for the benefit of their families all day long, Jiang Ning is the real pet fan. He interrupted the interview and fulfilled the wish of the female fan to sign, and this scene was too heartwarming. Many fans have praised Jiang Ning, which is the warmest picture of the stadium. Inside the Huaxia live broadcast room. Wow, did you see that? My brother Ning smiled. It turns out that brother Ning will also laugh. So serious and rigorous in the arena, but so cute when laughing, so cute in contrast. Brother Ning looks good when he is serious, and he looks good when he laughs. This smile is so healing, the old lady's heart that has been dusted for many years trembles. This woman is dangerous, protect me, and release brother Ning. Isn't it just dressed sexy, isn't it just a little older, she can do it, brother Ning, look at me, oh, I really want brother Ning's signature and group photo, where can I buy it, is it still too late to get a ticket now? As Jiang Ning's scene was spread, countless fans' impressions of Jiang Ning also changed. I originally thought that he was just a fair and just referee, but I didn't expect such an unknown side. Referee Jiang Ning, please go to the referee's room to rest first. After the interview, Olia came to Jiang Ning's side. Jiang Ning nodded and walked slowly to the referee's room. Oria followed behind Jiang Ning, her eyes flashing with a different color. She couldn't help but recall the scene when she received Jiang Ning at that time. Jiang Ning's first impression of her was that she was much tougher and more handsome than in the photo. At that time, Jiang Ning came by himself, carrying 2 boxes. Compared with the lively scene of other receptionists, he was just alone, somewhat lonely. She had also secretly worried about Jiang Ning in her heart, whether a referee from Huaxia who came to Karl country alone would be a little isolated and weak in judgment. And what is especially vivid in my memory is that at that time, Olia also asked Jiang Ning why there were only 2 fluttering boxes. Jiang Ning replied, one with a yellow card and the other with a red card. At that time, Oria was still a little unimpressed by this sentence. But after seeing Jiang Ning's penalty today, she now knows that this man from Huaxia is very interesting. Olja couldn't help but be very interested in this referee from Huaxia. There you are, Miss Oria. At this time, Jiang Ning's voice brought Olia back to his senses. Huh? A crimson flush appeared on Oria's face and said, yes, here, referee Jiang Ning, you can rest here first, and I'll come back later, good. After Jiang Ning saw off Oria, he closed the door of the referee's lounge. Because just now, the system's prompt sound has sounded in his mind. Congratulations to the host for completing the penalty for a World Cup event. The host successfully enforces the competition. After the system test, the penalty is fair and rigorous, and 2,000 fair points are rewarded. DDDD. The system detected that the host's penalty was recognized by the majority of fans. Congratulations on getting an additional 5,000 fair points reward. Fair point balance, 7,000 points. Ding. The draw pool activation is on. Jiang Ning was a little excited, and sure enough, as the system said, as long as the penalty is fair and just, you can get fair points. After receiving fair points, the system's draw pool is also activated. Jiang Ning communicated with the system. Know through the instructions of the system. The lottery is divided into 3 levels of rewards, namely primary draw, advanced lottery, and super lottery. Different levels of the lottery require different fair points. The lowest level junior draw requires 2,000 fair points. The advanced draw requires 5,000 fair points. The super draw requires 50,000 fair points. Jiang Ning secretly thought, I now have 7,000 fair points, but I can draw a primary draw and an advanced lottery. DDDD. Is the host now lottery? Jiang Ning did not hesitate, open the lottery. First come to the beginner, the primary lottery is in progress. Congratulations to the host, get attribute points, plus 5 allocation points, which can be freely assigned to any attribute. Jiang Ning was overjoyed. Through the attribute panel given by the system, he also had a general understanding of his various abilities, and these 5 attributes were of great use to him. Do you want to assign attribute points now? Assign to field control ability. DDDD, congratulations to the host, attribute point allocation has been completed. Properties panel, stamina, 90. Speed, 90. Field of view, 80. Field control ability, 85. Buzz. There was a roar in Jiang Ning's mind, and in an instant, calm was restored. Immediately afterwards, he felt that his perception of his surroundings was much clearer. Although it only adds 5 attribute points of field control ability, the effect is surprisingly good. Do you want to continue the lottery? Go on. Advanced draw, DDDD. The advanced draw is underway. Congratulations to the host for obtaining the skill, Eagle's Eye. Episode 17, Skill, Eagle's Eye. When you turn on this skill, you can change the point of view from your brain, and view every corner of the court in a 360-degree all-round without dead angles, with a wide field of vision and sharp as an eagle. Switch any viewing angle at will, bypass the field of view obstruction, and break the line of sight guidance. Jiang Ning's eyes lit up. When he selected the attribute point just now, he hesitated for a moment, whether to increase it in the field of view attribute or in the ability to control the field. According to the properties of the panel, his field of vision and field control ability are weaker than his physical strength and speed. In the end, he still chose to control the field. Because in terms of vision, with the assistance of VAR on the court today, it is not the most urgently needed. The ability to control the field is not the same, which is a comprehensive embodiment of his perception, prediction, and insight as a referee. Good luck. The Eagle's Eye undoubtedly allowed him to add a boost to his vision and make up for the weakness of his vision. However, if it is a weakness, it is also relative to other properties. With Jiang Ning's ability, he is extremely excellent in all aspects, otherwise he would not be able to be a referee representative in Asia. Now not only has his ability to control the field improved, but he has also acquired the Eagle Eye skill, which will make him more fluid and accurate in the next penalty. After trying the effect of the Eagle's Eye, Jiang Ning showed a satisfied smile. He then rested alone in the referee's room. Meanwhile, what a kick, trash. Sun Mingxing, you are not worthy of being the main force, go back to your mother's womb and further study. Garbage team, shame thrown into the world, do this kind of thing, do not deserve to play. Kimchi domestically, fans were furious. Some people smashed their own TVs angrily, and some people threw things printed with Sun Mingxing's photos out of the window. Even, many people rushed to the streets of Kimchi country in droves, scolding angrily with bare arms. Shame on the Kimchi national football team. Ridden on the head by the Waxians, do such a dirty thing, don't deserve to play football, get out of football, never go back to pickle country again, okay, swim back. The Kimchi national football team has been reduced to the same garbage existence as the Huasha national football team, and we have no face. Get out of the pickle country and go to Huasha to play football, maybe you can still be regarded as a treasure by Huasha. No, it's garbage sorting. More and more people joined, and gradually, the scene in the domestic Kimchi was a little out of control. Men and women, young and old, all rushed into the streets. In Kimchi country, sports competition is a profession with a very high status. They worship the strong and despise the weak. Therefore, for a long time, the Kimchi national football team has been their pride, and it is a mantra that they often hang on their lips and use to attack the Chinese people. But now? On the internet, all kinds of cynicism of the Chinese people make them feel like pins and needles. In particular, the Chinese culture is broad and profound, very profound, and if you want to scold people, the Chinese people have never lost. This time such a good opportunity, Huasha fans rushed into the external network, with some words that they couldn't understand, but they could feel ashamed to ridicule them, mercilessly. The fans of Kimchi country can only use the Huasha national football team to try to fight back and divert the center of this scolding battle. But how could the Huasha people bother? Our Huasha national football team is playing garbage, and when you used to sneer, we didn't have anything to say. But now it's different. At least the Huasha national football team can't do something that maliciously collides with the referee and doesn't admit it. Stealing chickens does not lead to eroding rice, losing the lady and breaking the army. Words like this frequently appear in the external network. Moreover, the Huasha fans were very tacit, all changed into Jiang Ning's avatars, with 3 red cards as an aid. Critical hit. Absolute crit. The pickle man almost vomited blood out of breath. In the end, the breath held in my heart can only be sent to the pickle national football team. For a time, all over the country of Kimchi country, there was a wave of scolding street craze. The media of Kimchi country is busy, and they received the notice from above that they must find a way to calm down this public opinion storm and wash the stain on the Kimchi country football team. Otherwise, if even the fans of your own country do not support it, then kick a hammer? But in the face of such a tricky situation, what else can the media of Kimchi country do? This is not such a simple action as a small action. This is losing or not convincing, starting or failing not admitting failure, being punched in the face and pretending not to happen. Especially after seeing the interview between Sun Mingxing and Sun Zhihao, the whole world is laughing at the country of Kimchi. Therefore, the media of Kimchi country can only broadcast as many highlights as possible in Kimchi country in an attempt to calm the anger of fans. But the media in other countries are not vegetarian. How can such a good hot spot be let go? For a time, Kimchi country became the biggest laughing stock of this World Cup. Everything that happened in the Kimchi country was not what Jiang Ning cared about. Although he did not consume much physical strength, he still lay down quietly and rested, keeping his physical strength and energy at the peak. Treadling. I don't know how long it took. Jiang Ning heard a sound of footsteps, and then slowly opened his eyes. Listening to this footsteps, it should be Orya coming. Jiang Ning got up and took the lead in opening the door of the lounge. Sure enough, Orya was standing at the outer door, holding some food in his hand, and was about to ring the doorbell. Hey, Judge Jiang Ning, how did you know I was coming? Jiang Ning smiled. I heard your footsteps. Orya was surprised, because the soundproofing of the referee's lounge was built at great expense by Carl Gua, and it was extremely quiet inside, almost insulating 90% of the outside world. In such a room, how did Jiang Ning hear his own footsteps? Moreover, how did Jiang Ning tell from the sound of footsteps that this sound came from her? Jiang Ning looked at the meal in Orya's hand and asked, why did you personally deliver it? Orya's little face blushed slightly. I'm just fine, just by the way. Oh, thanks. Jiang Ning took it. Referee Jiang Ning, in an hour, it's time for your penalty again. Orya said, Senica country against Helen country, episode 18, Jiang Ning will play the referee of the second game. Senica versus Helen. These are 2 strong teams. According to the ranking of the last World Cup, Senegal ranked 16th in the world and Helen ranked 7th in the world. Although Helen's ranking is higher, the gold content is high enough. But football is round. In football, anything can happen. Between the 16th and 7th, there is nothing absolutely to speak of. Therefore, this game has also been paid attention to by many people, and the attention is even higher than when the country of Ukraine is against the country of Kimchi. Senegal's style is relatively tough, whether it is defense or attack, it is more fierce. In addition, the Senegalese players are extremely physical, tall and leg-long, and they run extremely fast. Moreover, their forward is also a very popular star, playing for FC Bayern Main. Main is worth 60 million, can not only organize the attack, but also break through with the ball, and is extremely lethal. There is also left winger Sal and right winger Diata to match. It can be said that this year's Senegalese country is the strongest lineup ever. And Helen Kingdom is more legendary. They have won the World Cup and are recognized as traditional powerhouses, known by fans as the Orange. A small country with a population of only 17 million, but a lot of stars, mainly playing in the 34-12 formation, both offensive and defensive. The squad is strong, many of the players play in the 5 major leagues, both in terms of experience and strength, they are extremely good. Depay, De Jong, Xavi, these are all well-known and excellent players. Moreover, the height of the whole team of Helen country is the highest of all teams in this World Cup, so they also have a great advantage in the competition for high points. This game is expected by many fans. Whether it is the return of the King of the Orange Legion, or the country of Seneca, to get points. The fans on both sides have already entered in advance, wave after wave, even if the game has not yet started, the atmosphere is already extremely hot. An hour passed quickly. Jiang Ning changed his clothes, put on his communication equipment, and got up to go to the stadium to prepare. The players of Seneca and Helen saw the arrival of Jiang Ning on the sidelines, and they secretly calculated. This referee from Huaxia, the penalty is very strict, maybe we can take advantage of this. Be careful, don't eat cards. Humph. Better not touch me, or I'll call the judge. And with the appearance of Jiang Ning, the audience immediately burst into warm applause. If nothing else, just the fair penalty for Jiang Ning's last game is enough to make the fans respect. Huaxia TV. Here is the live broadcast of the match between Seeker and Helen in the 22 World Cup. I am the commentator of this game, Su Dong. In addition, we also invited player Wu Lei as a guest to explain this game to everyone. Wu Lei, hello audience friends, I am Wu Lei. Wu Lei, don't dare to explain, teacher Su Dong is already very professional, I am here to accompany everyone to watch the ball and enjoy the sports feast together. Su Dong, haha, Wu Lei is very modest. Su Dong, okay, the game is about to start, let's first talk about the starting lineup of both sides in this game. With the rotation of the large screen, the information of each player was presented. Afterwards, Su Dong continued, judging from the starting lineups of both sides, this game will be a very fierce confrontation. Wu Lei, yes, the style of competition on both sides is relatively tough. It should be a fierce competition, let's wait and see. Su Dong, it is also worth mentioning that the main referee of this game is Jiang Ning. Su Dong, as the pride of our Huaxia, he once again stood on the green field. Su Dong, looking forward to this game, he can also bring wonderful penalties to everyone. Immediately afterwards, Su Dong asked, Wu Lei, have you paid attention to Jiang Ning before? Wu Lei, of course, Jiang Ning, the only one in Huaxia who was selected for the World Cup referee seat, why wouldn't I pay attention? Wu Lei, to be honest, I have eaten his cards before. Su Dong, haha, looking at Wu Lei's expression, I know that this is an unbearable memory. Su Dong, judging from the more than 10 million people in the live broadcast room, this game has attracted a high degree of attention, far exceeding other matches. Wu Lei, actually, most of them came to Jiang Ning. Su Dong, yes, let's take a look at the barrage of the fans in the live broadcast room. The game has just started broadcasting less than 5 minutes, and tens of millions of fans have poured in. Some fans are loyal viewers who like to watch the World Cup. There are also some fans of Jiang Ning, as long as there is a ball game he enforced, they must come to help the field. At this time, tens of millions of fans gathered in the live broadcast room, eagerly awaiting, and the barrage was ejecting wildly. That's right, the old lady has a showdown, don't pretend, the old lady is coming to brother Ning, how to drop. I'm not a fan, but I'm a fan of Ning, so I'm here too. Domineering my brother Ning, don't be soft, we love to watch you give cards to cards. Jimei, according to reliable information, brother Ning is 25 years old, single, and can rush. On the playing field. The players from both sides sang the national anthem and were ready to fight for the honor of the country. This was followed by a pre-match handshake. This time it went smoothly and was respectful when shaking hands with Jiang Ning. They still remember the scene where Sun Mingxing directly ate cards because he refused to shake hands. In short, this referee is not easy to mess with. In front of him, don't be ostentatious. After shaking hands, the two-handed players set up their formations and wait for the game to begin. Jiang Ning looked at the time on his watch and raised it high with one hand. Beep. Beep. With Jiang Ning's whistle, the game officially began. This dragon and tiger fight has also kicked off. Fans on both sides shouted excitedly and cheered for their own teams. Senica's ball. Steady. Grasp the ball, Helen has a height advantage, to prevent their header, you must pay attention to the high point. The manager of Senica was on the sidelines. Shout. After passing each other in midfield, Senica found an opportunity and sent the ball to the feet of Luzal on the left. Sal is tall, eye-catching in the crowd, and easy to notice. Boom. With a slight lift of his foot, Sal stopped the ball steadily. Immediately after that, without making any stops, he shifted his foot and went to Diata on the right side. Jang stood in front of Diata and stuck Diata with his body. Both faced the direction the football was flying from, physically fighting each other. Only at this time, Jang accidentally stepped on Diata's foot. The soles of football shoes are all studs, and it really hurts to be stepped on. In a hurry, Diata slapped Jang's head. Whoosh! Jang covered his head and fell to the ground, shouting, "Referee, he hit me on the head." Seeing Jang fall, Diata stared, covered his feet, and wailed in pain. "Referee, he stepped on my foot." Episode 19. Referee, he hit me on the head. Referee, he stepped on my foot. The two famous stars, like two naive children at this time, are suing Jiang Ning. Beep. Jiang Ning blew the whistle and ran over. "Both of you, get up." "Referee, he hit me on the head, I hurt so much." "He stepped on my foot hurt terribly, it was so dirty." Both of them showed their exaggerated acting skills. There is a good saying that crying children have sugar to eat. The purpose of both sides is very clear, that is, to pretend to be miserable and let the other party eat cards. Seeing that neither of them got up, Jiang Ning raised his eyebrows, took out the yellow card, and showed it to the two respectively. "What? No, by what, I'm a victim." Diata and Jang were both shocked. Wow. The audience also erupted into an uproar. What is the situation? Just started the game, I pulled out the cards, and it was still 2. You, don't move your feet immediately after stepping on people, don't tell me you don't know. And you, hit people with your hands, foul. Don't play tricks in front of me, since I let you stand up, it is to judge that you can continue to play. I allow normal physical confrontation, but I don't allow you to try to use my penalty to change the game. As soon as Jiang Ning's words came out, Diada and Jang both shut up, looking a little embarrassed. This expression is as if a child who has done something bad is caught on the spot. Of course they're okay. Whether you step on your foot or pat your head, neither side has a heavy hand. And listening to the meaning of Jiang Ning's words, let them get up at first, in fact, they just wanted to verbally warn. However, they thought that with Jiang Ning's decision, it was very likely to give the opponent a yellow card, or win a free kick for their side, so they ignored Jiang Ning's words. This also led to a yellow card for each of them. Blood loss. If you already know it, you won't play these careful thoughts. In fact, they don't know that Jiang Ning's penalty is strict, but no matter how strict it is based on the rules of football. After all, football is a sport, and physical confrontation is also one of the points that football includes. Therefore, it is not necessary for someone to fall and the card will be given, it depends on the situation. Inside the Huaxia studio. Su Dong, audience friends, in the front court of the Helen team, Diada and Jang both fell to the ground. Su Dong, let's see what happened. Wu Lei, Jiang Ning is here, how will he judge the punishment? Immediately afterwards, Wu Lei exclaimed, took out the cards, 2 yellow cards. Su Dong, this. Faster than I expected. Su Dong, let's take a look at the playback of the lens, what really happened. Immediately afterwards, the picture played back the scene where the two stepped on their feet and patted their heads just now. The corners of Su Dong and Wu Lei's mouths twitched, and they forced a smile. They are professional and generally don't laugh unless they can't help it. Su Dong, Diada and Jang are both veterans of the national team, but the actions of the two just now are indeed somewhat dramatic. Wu Lei, they were all waiting for Jiang Ning's decision, but they didn't expect it to be a yellow card per person. Su Dong, I hope they don't make such low-level mistakes again. In the live broadcast room, the barrage brush flew up. It's all ha 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 ha. Laugh is not alive, brothers, ha ha ha. You two are stars, how can you die laughing like children who compete for favors? My brother Ning is like a parent, 2 bear children sue each other. This careful thought, at a glance, was seen through by my brother Ning, the large-scale bag-grabbing scene. The crackling of the little abacus, Huaxia heard it. Brother Ning won't get used to you, how about it, eat cards, right? Regret it, right? Please allow me to laugh a little longer, otherwise I am afraid of holding back my internal injuries. Beep. Jiang Ning blew the whistle and the game continued. The ball was still awarded to Senica. Through the ability under his feet, Sal successfully broke through the defenders of Helen country and rushed into the penalty area. However, Helengua's defense is very solid, and after a defender, a new player immediately comes up. Sal looked around with his afterlight and found that his teammates were all staring, and it was difficult for someone to come out to pick up. No chance. In desperation, Sal took the ball alone and went around the periphery. It's almost marching against the bottom line. If there is no chance, then create it. As he gradually approached the goal, he really attracted the siege of 2 defenders. Sal blocks the opponent with his body and then passes the ball with an inverted triangle. The football was under the clamp of 6 feet, accurately found a gap and drilled out. Diada screamed and rushed out, volleying vigorously. Wow. The fans stood up excitedly. Unfortunately, this kick was deflected and flew out of the bottom line against the left side of the goal. The fans of Seeker country showed a disappointed look, just a little, almost scored. Diada covered her face in annoyance. This kick hit the door, which somewhat made his old face hang up. If you come twice more, it is estimated that your value will drop. The linesman raised the small flag in his hand and signaled the goal ball. The ball was handed over to Helen country. Although the game has just begun, a threatening attack is born so quickly. This undoubtedly ignited the enthusiasm of the audience. What did they come to Carl country for at such a great cost? Isn't it just to be able to feel the charm of football on the spot? Exciting, passionate, always passionate, never give up. That's football. The game continues. The ball is in the hands of the Helen team. The Orange Legion is worthy of being a traditional powerhouse. They have a high pass success rate, they are also very accurate, and they play in a solid style, always looking for opportunities in the midfield to observe the opposing team's defensive holes. Shout. The ball was passed to the right and Chavi took the ball in an attempt to break through. Jang and Pai rushed in, ready to take over. This is the style of a strong team, after the football is close, teammates can always quickly step forward. Chavi's eyes lit up, and after a confrontation with the Senica defenders, a very thoughtful heel pass passed the football out. Pass through the crotch and go straight to the middle. Unfortunately, before Jang could receive the ball, he was intercepted by a defender from Seeker. Boom. Immediately afterwards, Senica immediately kicked the ball towards Helen's goal. Defend and counterattack, attack quickly. At this time, the speed advantage of the Senegalese players is reflected. Sal took the lead and ran wild with the ball. Helen defense players can't catch up. It's time to form a single knife. In a hurry, a Helen defense player directly reached out and pulled Sal's clothes, trying to slow down Sal with his body weight. Immediately afterwards, he simply squatted directly on the ground, grabbed Sal's shirt, and with this force, slid on the grass for several meters. At this moment, Sal looks like a sled dog pulling a snowmobile. Sal was furious. Hey! Hey! Referee, you take care of him. Episode 20, inside the Huaxia live broadcast room. Sudong, hey! The Helen team took a foul and stopped Sal. Sudong, otherwise, this is a very threatening counterattack. Sudong, Wu Lei, what do you think? Wu Lei, I think this is a very correct choice. After all, everyone fights very hard in the World Cup. Wu Lei, if you lose the ball at the beginning, the blow to the Helen team will be huge. Wu Lei, but the defender of Helen has a yellow card at the beginning, and in the next game, he will play very hard. Sudong, yes, after all, defensive players are the most in need of physical confrontation. Sudong, what's more, today's referee is still Jiang Ning. Sudong, our audience friends have also sent many barrages. Let's take a look together. In the Huaxia live broadcast room, the barrage was frantically refreshed. Forgive me for not smiling cheekily, Sal really looks like a husky pulling a sled just now. Live action Togo. Seek the psychological shadow area of Sal. Haha, brothers, did you hear it? Sal called Brother Ning to take care of it, like a schoolboy suing. Brother Ning shot, the small card will be there. Beep. Jiang Ning blew the whistle and ran over. Then he took out a yellow card and gave it to the defenders of Helen country. This action, the yellow card, is not controversial. The Helenwa players will not have any dissatisfaction, and the fans will accept it gladly, and even some have no heart and lungs to help laughing. The reason is simple. Because this is a tactical foul. If this defender does not make such a pulling action, the threat of this goal to the Helen national goal is huge. At the risk of conceding a goal, such a move is a foul in exchange for a lifeline for the team. It's just that this scene happened a little too early. Under normal circumstances, such a tactical foul will be placed in the midfield of the game, and both sides are deadlocked. No one wants the balance to be broken, because if you lose the ball, you may well lose the game. And the reason why Helenwa took a tactical foul so early can only show that the threat of Seeker country's counterattack this time is too great. Sal is fast, has solid technique on his feet, and has a great ability to score goals. Come on! Come on! Come on! The Seneca fans shouted wildly. Although he lost this excellent opportunity, from the beginning of the match, Seneca already had 2 attacks that threatened Helen country. This made the fans enthusiastic. After all, the other party is the Orange Legion. Beep. Jiang Ning blew the whistle and awarded Seneca a free kick. This free kick was far from the goal and it was difficult to hit the goal directly, so Seneca chose to continue to advance. Shout. Under the passing of Seneca, the football slowly advanced to the half of Helen country and hovered outside the penalty area. Seneca's Diata asked for the ball and the football moved to the right wing. Diata took a look at the situation. Obviously, Maine was closely watched, and as the top scorer of Seneca, Helen must have studied him thoroughly before the war. After seeing that Maine could not respond, Diata chose to forcibly break through. Shout. With his excellent personal ability, he threw off the defensive players of Helen country with football. Helenwa's defense was also extremely tough, and immediately the 3 of them were wrapped up. In desperation, Diata could only knock the ball out and let his teammates who were vacated outside the box pick it up. It's a pity that the power given by this ball is slightly greater and it flies out of bounds. Out of bounds ball. The linesman pointed to the direction of Seneca's goal, signaling that the ball was given to Helen country. Helenwa threw the ball out of bounds, and after a fruitless scramble, the Seeker players hurriedly rushed back to their own half to defend. Shout. Helenwa passes, their team's foot skills are better than Seneca's, so the pass is very accurate. For fans, it is also a visual treat to see such a high-quality pass. Soon, the football came to the right side of the field, and Xavi took the ball. Xavi is a very thoughtful player, and he had a very beautiful back foot through the crotch before. This immediately caught the attention of the Senegalese players and will also focus on him. So, as soon as he saw Xavi taking the ball, the captain of Seeker country stretched out his hand. Up. Shout. Suddenly, 3 defenders rushed up and forced Harvey to the edge of the outside. 3-1. You know, this is outside the exclusion zone of Seneca. Seneca took a big risk by dividing 3 defenders to force Xavi. If the ball is not intercepted and passed out, there will inevitably be holes in the defense of the penalty area. This also shows how jealous Senica is of the 19-year-old right-winger of Helen. Damn it. Under the watchful eye of the opposing three defensive players, Harvey not only obstructed his vision, but also had a smaller and smaller range of action. This is to force him directly out of the line. In the final moments, Xavi had no choice but to force the ball out, trying to get the ball to hit the foot of the Seneca player and then bounce out of the line. In this way, at least the ball outside the bounds is still their Helen country. According to the rules of football, which team of players the last time the ball touches before qualifying, then the ball belongs to the other team. Shout. In the end, the football flies out of line, out of bounds. It's just that there are too many people, and they are too close. The distance between the four people is almost impossible to stretch their hands. Within such a small range, 8 feet, one ball bounces back and forth, so fast that it is difficult to see with the naked eye. And under the physical cover of the four, even the linesman can hardly determine who owns the ball. So for a while, even the lineman who was close at hand, staring at the football, was a little hesitant and couldn't judge. This is actually quite normal. In such a small range, the ball is extremely fast, maybe bouncing back and forth 4 or 5 times. Even the players themselves can't be sure who touched the ball in the end. Therefore, the linesman can only signal and request the video referee to use VAR's technology to make a decision. Beep. Suddenly, the whistle sounded. At this time, Jiang Ning ran over and stretched out his finger in the direction of Seneca country. Jiang Ning signaled, Helen country's ball rights. Nope. Why? That's not true. Hey. Referee, you must be mistaken. The ball is ours. You're standing so far away, how could you possibly see it? Don't judge indiscriminately. For a time, the players of Senegal protested with dissatisfaction. What even the linesman in front of you cannot judge, how can you see when you stand so far away and your vision is obstructed? Who to bluff? Black whistle. Jiang Ning's face was expressionless, unmoved. Don't question my sentence, this is my first warning to you. Episode 21, Inside the Huaxia live broadcast room. Sudong, we saw controversy in the field. Wu Lei, it should be the judgment of the ball outside the bounds. Sudong, it seems that the players of Seneca are very dissatisfied with Jiang Ning's judgment. Sudong, and the linesman did not raise the flag, it should be that there were too many players on the sideline just now, and the ball speed was fast, and it was impossible to determine for a while. Sudong, Wu Lei, this often happens when you compete for the ball, right? How did you handle it? Wu Lei, generally speaking, if there is a big dispute, it is to follow the judgment of the referee. Wu Lei, after all, the possession of the ball outside the field is not a very fatal penalty. Wu Lei, so even if the referee is in the wrong direction, we only symbolically express our dissatisfaction, and we will not bite the referee. Wu Lei, but this is in the World Cup, and the reaction of Senegal is understandable. Sudong, then Wu Lei, do you think Jiang Ning's sentence will really go wrong? Wu Lei, it's really hard to say. Wu Lei, after all, with Jiang Ning's position at that time, it was difficult for him to see the situation in the corner of the sideline. Wu Lei, I believe everyone also knows that even the linesman did not react for a while, and Jiang Ning's penalty may be a bit arbitrary. Sudong, you are also right, but from my personal point of view, I still believe Jiang Ning. Sudong, these factors aside, at least Jiang Ning's judgments so far have been extremely accurate. Wu Lei nodded, we can only wait for VAR's playback and give us a result. At this time, in the live broadcast room, barges flew everywhere. I can't see it from that angle. Will Brother Ning misjudge this time? Brothers, worry. If you really misjudge, it will be over, you will be caught by the fans and players on the scene. Although what Wu Lei said is reasonable, I still support Brother Ning. Everyone rest assured, his judgment must be reasonable. Yes, my Brother Ning is very sure of everything, and every time he strikes, there must be a factual basis. Inside the playing field, the Senegalese players expressed their dissatisfaction. This is the ball that the three of them snatched after the siege, and it was returned to Helengua? In fact, even they are not quite sure who touched the ball at the last moment. After all, the work of that moment is too fast, and it is easy to produce visual confusion. The reason why they dared to protest against Jiang Ning like this was actually because they firmly believed that it was impossible to see clearly with Jiang Ning's position just now. Therefore, they think that Jiang Ning is arbitrarily awarding punishments. This is the World Cup, how can you endure such a thing as random judgment? Protest, must protest. Don't question a professional referee. Jiang Ning's cold words, their hearts jumped. They didn't expect to meet such a strong referee, and there was confidence in their eyes. What else do the three Seneca players want to say? Jiang Ning pointed to the large screen hanging above the arena. The VAR video restores everything just now, and it is presented in slow motion. I saw the football kicked out under Xavi's feet, first crashed into the number 9 player of Seneca country, and then rebounded to Xavi's feet. But all this is not over. After the football reached Xavi, it bounced back again, and it reached the thigh of Senega's number 15. At this time, the number 15 player subconsciously raised his foot, the football was disguised, and when he landed, he was almost stuck between the legs of Xavi and Seneca's number 9. Then the football fell off the sideline. Hiss. The fans were shocked. This is not clear even through slow motion. Finally, it was VAR technology that restored the position of the two people at that time and the landing point of the football, carried out video cross-cutting, and scribing assistance. Before falling off the sideline, the football rubbed the instep of the number 9 player in Seneca with a very small and minimal contact surface. And there is only a very small distance from Harvey's feet. According to the crosscut reduction, the instep of the number 9 player in Seneca is just close to the football, and the distance between Xavi's foot and the football is no more than 1 centimeter. Wow. The audience was in an uproar. The penalty is correct. The ball of football is Helengua's. Everyone looked at the man in the field incredulously, with an indifferent face and firm eyes. Jiang Ning. Referee from Huaxia. How the hell did he do it? How is it possible, unbelievable brothers? It's all said, you can always trust Brother Ning, and every time you play a card, you must show justice. Inside the Huaxia live broadcast room. One barrage after another is refreshing at a very fast speed. Brother Ning's serious look is so handsome. Jime, my whole body is crispy. Seneca players can have snacks, isn't it good to play well? Fight around, find yourself boring, ha ha ha, look at the little eyes of those players, the eyes are incredible. In fact, the reason why Jiang Ning can be so clear is naturally because of the skill of eagle eye. With the eagle's eye there, he can switch perspectives at will, easily capturing all the details of what just happened. Beep. Jiang Ning blew the whistle and the game continued. Out of bounds ball, the ball is still in the hands of Helengua. The player threw the out-of-bounds ball and still found Harvey. This time, the players of Helen country learned to be obedient and kept a close distance from Xavi to facilitate reception. Harvey made a one-hit match with his teammates, continuous back and forth passing and fast movement, and finally broke free from the defense and sent the football to the middle. Shout. However, at this moment, a figure suddenly flashed out from the side, jumped high, and intercepted this biography with his chest. That's Maine. Damn it. Harvey cursed angrily, and the players of Helen country immediately turned back to defense. Maine launched. He rushed to the opposite side with the ball. Like a bolt of lightning. It was terrifying, Maine's speed, and the sudden appearance like a ghost, caught Helengua off guard. The reason why Maine is so valuable, in addition to excellent ball skills, the most important thing is awareness. Consciousness is something that a player can easily grasp through practice. It's talent. Be in the right place at the right time and do the right thing. That's why Maine has been targeted. Because he is the top scorer in Seneca country, blocking him is the priority of Helen country. In the two waves of attacks just now, Seneca is also trying to find a way to find Maine. It's just that Maine was stared at too hard to get out at all. Shout. Maine's figure is extremely fast, bursting with the ball, and the 3 Helen defense defenders behind him are desperately chasing. In a hurry, the Helen defense defenders exchanged glances, and 2 of them immediately adjusted their figures, observed Jiang Ning's position, and blocked Jiang Ning's sight with their bodies. Immediately afterwards, another defender directly stretched out his foot and tripped Maine. Beep. Jiang Ning blew his whistle, his eyes staring at the defenders of Helen country, as sharp as an eagle's eye. Episode 22, Yellow Card. With a whistle, Jiang Ning shot another yellow card. Maine fell, and not lightly. The scene suddenly erupted into an exclamation. However, Jiang Ning was not polite, and instantly blew the whistle and gave a yellow card warning. This is the second yellow card of the Helen team. The card-eating player was a little dissatisfied, and he spread his hands at Jiang Ning with an innocent face. The other 2 players also surrounded and talked to Jiang Ning. Referee, this is just a normal physical confrontation, this kind of confrontation on the court is normal. Is it too serious to give cards? In fact, they can choose to take tactical fouls as before. But how long has it been since the opening now? If you eat another card, the impact on them will be huge. So I chose to take a risk. If Jiang Ning can't see with his body, maybe it's just a verbal warning. This risk, worth taking. It was precisely because they knew very well that it was impossible for the referee to see these small movements, and now they dared to come forward and protest with Jiang Ning. Jiang Ning looked indifferent and looked at them coldly. At this time, Maine had also stood up, patted the broken grass on his body, sighed, and walked to the side in silence. He didn't want to argue, and he was used to such a target. Since his talent has been revealed over the years, more and more people have studied and targeted him on the field. Whenever he takes the ball, small actions, dirty means, endless streams. He is a professional athlete, and in the face of the deliberate targeting of the other party, he can only choose to trust the referee. But every time there was a dispute, the referee's decision was a disappointment for him. He can't argue too much, otherwise it's himself who suffers. So, gradually, a shadow was cast in his heart. Whenever he was violated and targeted, he chose silence. He's a footballer who just wants to play well and not make pointless arguments. Scoring goals is the best counterattack for these violations and targets. However, just as he was leaving, what Jiang Ning said made his body shake violently. Jiang Ning said coldly, "In this arena where I enforce the law, there will never be any darkness. As the enforcer of this arena, I will definitely ensure the fairness of the game, and no one will want to trample on the rules in front of me. Football advocates fair play. If you don't even have the courage to play fairly, you don't deserve the word football." When he heard these words, Main stopped. These words made his eyes change, and there was a look of disbelief. He couldn't imagine that this sentence was actually said by a referee. In previous matches, Main was disappointed with the referee. It can even be said that it is a disappointment. Actually, it's understandable. It's not that all penalties are unfair, but the referee has to stare at 22 people on the field, and the difficulty can be imagined. It's not that the referee doesn't act, it's that the referee can't see it at all. So gradually, Main no longer hopes for the referee, only hopes that he can make more breakthroughs and become more powerful. In this way, even in the face of darkness, you can sing all the way. But Jiang Ning's words made a glimmer of hope ignite in his heart. Football is a fair game. With Jiang Ning here, maybe he can really give full play to his personal abilities. I can see your little tricks clearly. If there is another time, it will not be a yellow card, but all of you. Hiss. The three defenders of Helen country gasped, and a flash of fear flashed in their eyes. Jiang Ning said that next time it will not be one, but all cards. This sentence made their hearts sink. This means that Jiang Ning knows that the other two teammates are helping to cover just now. Terrible. It's terrible. What the hell is this monster? Obviously blocking his line of sight, he knows everything. The three defenders glanced at each other weakly, and then they all lowered their heads, not daring to say more. If you continue to be ignorant, as long as you call VAR, they will be able to hide. Beep. Then, Jiang Ning blew the whistle, pointed to the ground, and signaled Senica to the country's free kick in front. This goal was given to Main to take the penalty. Main is solemn, it's one of the few opportunities he can shoot without interference. Senica fans were looking forward to it, and they all showed a nervous look. Main adjusted his breathing, then decisively ran and raised his foot to volley. Boom. The ball sank strongly, but it still hit the defender and popped out of bounds. The percentage of direct free kicks on goal is actually not high. Most choose to pass the ball and then shoot. It's also about the position of the free kick and so on. For example, when taking a free kick, the opponent needs to stand on the wall. Such a group of people block the route of your football, and if you want to hit the goal directly, you need to let the football bypass the defenders in the air. So it's not easy to score if it's too close. After all, football needs enough distance in midair to rotate and change direction. This is also why when watching the game, you will find that there are some free kicks, and the penalty taker will quietly move the position of the ball back a little. Main missed a goal and immediately showed a look of disappointment. He steals himself, dribbles the ball himself, and after being violated for a foul, he hits the goal himself. This opportunity was created entirely by Main in his personal capacity. It's just a pity that it still ended in failure. The game continues. The two sides come and go, constantly switching attack and defense. The game lasted for 20 minutes, and neither Helen nor Senegal could pry open the opponent's goal. But overall, Helen has the advantage. After all, in terms of overall strength, Helen country is superior. In terms of passing success and possession, Senegal is on the backward side. And during this time, Helen country showed an extremely tough defensive posture, which also led to Senica not having many opportunities to attack. Compared with the defense of Helen country, Senegal also fought fiercely, especially in the pressing of the ball. They used the most physically draining high pressing, chasing the ball the whole time, showing the advantages of speed and physical strength to the fullest. Even though no goals have been scored yet, it's still wonderful. Shout. At this time, Helen kicked the ball and kicked the football to the right side of Senica country. High penalty. This is taking advantage of the overall height advantage of Helen country to create opportunities. Depay, who is nearly 1 meter 9 meters tall, jumped high and jumped towards the football like an eagle spreading its wings. And Depay is also fast. As a result, none of the Seneca players defending Depay had time to jump. Depay's body is tall, and after jumping up in front of him, plus his body leaning forward, the whole person seems to be about to be overwhelmed. Subconsciously, the Seneca player stretched out his arm. However, it was just such a stretch of hand, just between the legs of Depay, who was jumping high. Whoosh! Depay screamed strangely, rolled his eyes in midair, and fell to the ground. Episode 23, Beep. At this time, Jiang Ning stepped forward and blew the whistle. Inside the Huaxia live broadcast room. Sudong, hey, Depay fell to the ground, what happened? Wu Lei, maybe there was a collision between bodies just now when they were competing for the high point. Sudong, it should be, we can see that Depay is lying on the ground in pain, his hand covering the key part of a man. Saying that, Sudong suddenly stopped, and his expression became a little intriguing. Wu Lei was also stunned, and then quickly took over. Wu Lei, it should have been injured just now, and it hurt an important part, look at this expression, it hurts not lightly. Sudong, yes, what happened just now? Let's take a look at the video replay. At this time, the screen switched and slowed down the scene just now. In the picture, Depay jumped high, and the players of Senica were obviously startled and subconsciously stretched out their hands. It's a monkey stealing peaches. Hit Depay's crotch. At this time, everyone understood why Depay was holding there. Coupled with Depay's expression of rolling his eyes, this scene is indeed too comedic. Sudong and Wu Lei covered their mouths, their faces showing pain, and they were about to be suffocated. They are professional and generally don't laugh easily unless they really can't help it. Sudong pinched his thigh with one hand to hold back his smile, and quickly said, I believe everyone saw that there was an accident on the court. Sudong, football is very dangerous, and I hope that the players can protect themselves on the field. Wu Lei, however, this is also the charm of football, which will give us a surprise from time to time. The words of the two are very interesting, obviously they want to laugh but can't laugh, want to say but can't say. After all, this is a national broadcast, how many fans are watching? Still pay attention to the impact. In the live broadcast room, the barrage is about to laugh crazy. Ha 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 ha. Tai Nima's funny, hey, hey, hey. You defend, don't stretch your hands, don't you know that there are girls watching the ball? Only men understand men's pain, you girls can't experience it. Look fast, roll your eyes, roll your eyes. Will it foam at the mouth? Laughter can't live brothers, others are playing football with life, Depay is funny with life. Jime, close your eyes quickly, not for children. On the playing field. The scene erupted in exclamations. Especially after seeing the replay. The male fans were all subconsciously shocked, and suddenly felt a coolness coming from across the border. And the female fans are wide-eyed, small mouths in the shape of O, eyes shining, as if afraid of missing something. It was a dramatic scene, but it really happened in the arena. Beep. Jiang Ning ran and blew the whistle. Everyone looked at Jiang Ning, waiting for Jiang Ning's action of pulling out his cards. However, Jiang Ning just pointed to the ground and signaled the free kick of the Helen national team. What? Didn't pull out the cards? It's not like his style. Many people showed a surprised look, while the players on Helengua's side were dissatisfied. Referee, didn't you see that? Depay rolled his eyes, he was badly injured, shouldn't it be a yellow card for such a bad foul? It's not fair, are you targeting us? Jiang Ning just stopped, but leaned down to observe Depay's situation. Yuk? Jiang Ning asked. Depay raised his hand with difficulty, signaling that he was fine. Jiang Ning nodded, and then said to the players of Helen country, the foul just now was not deliberate, but subconsciously reached out to resist. This is a physical confrontation of normal intensity, so no cards will be given. After that, Jiang Ning issued a solemn warning to the Senegalese player. However, I must now solemnly warn you not to stretch out your hands. Next time, yellow card warning. Depay stood up with the help of his teammates and stopped at the team doctor on the sidelines, signaling that he was fine. I believe that male compatriots have all had the same experience and can empathize. This pain, although painful, will slowly lessen. So Depay is now much better and can barely stand, and it only takes a few more minutes to continue to run and jump. Beep. Jiang Ning blew the whistle, signaling the game to continue. This is a free kick from Helengua, which was given to De Jong to take the penalty. De Jong is Helengua's top scorer and also has a kung fu for a free kick. And this position is a great threat to the goal, so the players of Senica attach great importance to it, and after placing the wall, they are always on guard. Boom. De Jong runs and lifts the ball high. He didn't choose to hit the goal directly, but fished the ball to the high point in the middle. The average height of Helen country is the highest among all the participating teams in this World Cup, so it has a strong high-altitude advantage. It's just that De Jong gave up shooting and chose to pass the ball, which really surprised the Seneca player. High point scramble. Because they all mistakenly thought that De Jong would play directly on goal, the Seneca players did not go to the card in advance. This also led to the fact that they were already at a disadvantage in height and lost the initiative. Shout. At this moment, a figure came out of the crowd and jumped up violently. It's Harvey. A 19-year-old young general in Helen country. Boom. I saw others in midair, and with a flick of their heads, the line of football changed. Head fairy. The power of this header was extremely great, and the football instantly changed direction, and actually drilled towards the lower left corner of the goal. The football passes the defender, past the goalkeeper, and finally into the net. Rumble. The fans of Helen country let out a deafening scream. The ball went in. 1:0. The score was rewritten. Helen took the lead in breaking the deadlock and taking the lead. Worthy of being the uncrowned king, worthy of the Orange Legion. The players of Helen country celebrated excitedly and hugged together. Only they know how hard won this goal is. Senica is not weak, and the ball style is tough, it is a very strong opponent. The lead of this goal made them all breathe a sigh of relief in their hearts. At this time, many Helen fans who were watching this match through live broadcast also celebrated wildly at the moment of the goal. Many fans are also venting their inner excitement through the barrage. Depay, did you see that? This is your credit. Although you are injured, your efforts have won a goal for Helen country, and we will remember you. Congratulations Depay, get an assist. Episode 24. The score was rewritten, Helen country 1:00, Senegalese country. In the 28th minute of the game, Helen passed into the air through a free kick, and Xavi headed it to break the deadlock first. Helen celebrated warmly. Although it looks like a goal through a free kick pass, it actually has a high goal content. Don't look at a simple pick, but find something, find someone, timing, one cannot be less. Harvey also crossed the crowd and launched an advance to get rid of the defenders. None of this can be summed up in one sentence. Behind it, countless exercises and tactical deployments. The strength of the uncrowned king is beyond doubt. They are not like Seneca, where only a few players stand out, but the overall level is online. Main, Sal, Diata, once they are targeted and blocked, the disadvantages of Seneca are reflected. And here in Helen country, you can blossom more. Now that the score has been rewritten, the pressure on Senegal will skyrocket, and if a breakthrough is not found soon, the situation will become more and more passive. Inside the Huaxia studio. Sudong, pretty. The ball went in. Sudong, fans and friends, Helen scored a goal first, 1:00. Sudong, this goal came from Xavi's header fairy, the angle is very tricky, running to the bottom left corner of the goal. Wu Lei, yes, Helen country has taken the lead, and in the next game, Seneca country may not be able to play well. Sudong, Wu Lei, what do you think of the current situation in Senegal? Wu Lei, I think Seneca also has the ability, whether it is defensive or offensive, it is very good. Wu Lei, now the advantages of Seneca have not yet been reflected, and Maine seems to be a little out of shape. Sudong, yes, Maine was targeted too hard and there was no room to play. Wu Lei, in fact, judging from Maine's performance in the past 6 months, there may be some changes in his mentality. Sudong, indeed, he seems to have been thoroughly studied, and many teams have a strong target for him as soon as he plays. Sudong, even when facing some weak brigades, it is difficult for Maine to play a role, and over time, he has indeed changed a lot. Wu Lei, now it depends on whether Maine can swim against the tide in adversity. Wu Lei, Senegal now needs a hero who can turn things around. Sudong, yes, I hope he can surprise us in the next game. Beep. With Jiang Ning's whistle, the game continued. Senegal's players regrouped and looked for opportunities in midfield with the ball. The midfielders observed the scene many times and wanted to pass the football to Maine in front. But wherever Maine goes, there are always at least 2 players around. In desperation, the midfield teammate could only bring the ball to the feet of Sal. As soon as Sal got the ball, Diata waved at him. Shout. The football was passed vigorously and transferred directly from the left to the right. This is a helpless move. In the face of Helen tough defense, they can only make holes in their defense line through constant transfers. It's just that the defense of Helen country is tougher than Seneca imagined. Helen's defensive players are not only highly skilled at their feet, but also have good awareness, and are very accurate in blocking and intercepting. Therefore, in desperation, Diata, who got the ball, could only choose to forcibly break through. Maine met through the card position, followed closely by the defenders. Diata gritted his teeth and forced the ball out, wanting to play a match with Maine. Unfortunately, this pass was seen through by the defenders of Helen country, intercepted in advance, and the ball was also recaptured. Damn it. Diata cursed and hurriedly returned to defense. Don't worry, we still have a chance. At this time, Maine ran over and patted Diata's shoulder. Diata nodded. Maine, they are targeting you. I know all this, and I know that you play very depressingly. But today is different. Our referee is Jiang Ning from Huaxia. You may be able to give it a try. Maine paused in his steps, his eyes becoming a little struggling. He looked at Jiang Ning, who looked indifferent in the field, and what Jiang Ning said just now echoed in his mind, and his heart trembled inexplicably. Maybe. The game continues. Helen got the ball, and it was rapidly approaching, full of oppression. They have already scored first, and now they are even more powerful. Especially after seeing a 19-year-old shine, other players are itching in their hearts. This is the stage of the World Cup, and fans all over the world are watching here. If they can show their talent and ability here, it will be a supreme honor for them and an excellent opportunity. So everyone wants to score, everyone wants to show themselves. Senegal is their best opponent. Watch out for the highs. Watch out for the highs. The manager of Senica is constantly directing from the sidelines. At the beginning of the game, he reminded to pay attention to Helingwa's header. Height advantage has always been their killer feature. Main, break through more, don't tie your hands. This is the arena of the World Cup, play more personal ability, rush to the penalty area. The manager also saw that Main's condition was wrong and specially opened his mouth to remind him. If Main can play normally, his threat in the opponent's penalty area is great. When Main heard this, he looked at the opposing player behind him, and then looked at the location where Jiang Ning was, and his eyes became a little drifting. Boom. The football was passed to the middle, Helingwa pressed in, putting a lot of pressure on Senegal outside the box. However, Seneca is not what it used to be, and they are known as the new kings of Africa, and they also have a very iron-blooded defense. In particular, they played very hard today, and with the support of excellent physical fitness, they continued to press high, which also affected Helingwa's passing control. Depay. Xavi rushed forward with the ball, pretending to make a breakthrough, deceived the defenders, and immediately passed the ball to the feet of Depay on the left wing. Depay's eyes lit up, and he started early the moment Harvey got his foot. Before the football landed, Depay volleyed directly. This is extremely difficult, because the ball will change direction and rotate in midair. Therefore, if you want to judge the trajectory of the football and directly volley vigorously halfway, you need extremely accurate judgment and keen perception. This is also the ball feeling that football players often mention. Simply put, it is a test of a player's talent. Shout. The football is in full swing and straight to the goal. Senegal, danger. Episode 25. Depay volleyed in the air, the football spun violently, and rushed towards the goal of Seneca at great speed. Wow. The fans of Helen country stood up with excitement and clenched their fists. The goalkeeper of Seneca country exerted his feet and his body bounced up like a spring, and he pounced on the top right corner of the goal. Boom. Touched. The goalkeeper touched the high-speed soccer ball with both hands and successfully saved. Wow. God pounce, world-class save. The reaction is also too fast, the goalkeeper of Seneca is contributed. The fans stood up and cheered. There was an exclamation, especially for fans who knew a little about football, to know how difficult it was to save this goal. This requires a high degree of concentration on the part of the goalkeeper and accurate judgment at the right time. As for the action of saving, it relies on muscle memory that has been trained for a long time. Boom. The football was successfully saved. But that doesn't mean Senegal is safe. After the football ejection came back, it was still in the restricted area, and it was still at the feet of Helingwa. Harvey attacked, made up for it, raised his foot to make up for it. And at this time it was the gap when the Seneca goalkeeper fell to the ground and had not yet gotten up. No one guards the door. Shout. The football goes straight to the goal. At this moment, a defender from Seneca pounced. Boom. The defender blocked the goal with his body, and the football also hit him hard. Almost a must-score goal, narrowly blocked. Thrilling. The fans of Seneca exclaimed, because they were too nervous, and their palms were already full of sweat in such a moment. However, it's not over. After the football was blocked by the defenders, it bounced to the ground and landed at the feet of Jang again. Jang lifted his foot to stop the ball, instantly adjusted his foot, and used his best left foot to continue to make up the shot. Third shot. However, by this time, the goalkeeper had already stood up and returned to the goal. In the face of Jang's shot, he pounced, held the ball in his arms, and then fell to the ground. Ah! Jang roared in annoyance, grabbing his clothes to reveal a look of loss. Wow! The audience was in an uproar, and there were bursts of exclamations. Immediately afterwards, there was a heavy applause and cheers. Tense and exciting. In just a few seconds, Helen was shot 3 times. Everything happens between flint light. The Seneca goalkeepers staged world-class saves and the defenders' desperate blocking, all of which were wonderful. For fans on both sides, it was enjoyable to watch. 1 second it's calm, the next it's a storm. The competition goes on. The ball has come to Seneca. Seneca's midfielder took control of the ball and slowly pushed forward. Now with 8 minutes to go until the end of the first half, they still have a chance. Shout. The football came to Diata's feet. All press forward a little. Find Main. Hurry up, the head coach of Seneca is directing the operation. After glancing at where Main was, Diata immediately launched. He first passed the ball to his teammates behind him, then quickly ran to the side. The teammate naturally understood his intention, and after the ball was passed back, he did not make any stops at his feet at all, and pushed the ball back. By this time, Diotta had gone in the other direction, temporarily getting rid of the opposing defender. Main! Diotta shouted and was about to pass the ball. At this time, Main had also launched in advance, and rushed to Helengua's goal, while the attention of the two players defending him was diverted. But at this moment, Diotta suddenly let out a scream, and then covered his feet and fell to the ground. He was put down. Football failed to pass either. It turned out that in the instant just now, the players defending Diotta discovered Diotta's intentions and noticed Main, who had already launched. Main's threat is too great, and if this ball is passed, it is likely to be a threat. So, without hesitation, the defensive player stepped on Diotta's heel. Beep. Jiang Ning blew the whistle, ran quickly, pulled out a yellow card without disappointing anyone, and awarded Senica a well-placed free kick in front. Immediately afterwards, Jiang Ning asked Diotta if he could continue the game. Diotta stood up and said he was fine. Jiang Ning nodded and signaled the game to continue. A free kick from Senica. Unfortunately, Senegal did not seize the opportunity this time, and the football was slightly higher than the crossbar and failed to score points. Subsequently, it was the attack of the Helen state on the Senegalese state. Helen state, which has multiple firepower on the offensive end, has put a lot of pressure on the Seneca defense. Shout. I saw Jang and Depay play together in the box, and a second pass divided the football to Xavi on the sidelines. Harvey raised his foot and volleyed, failed to score. But Jang also took the ball again, shot a supplementary shot, and smashed it on the post. Two consecutive extremely threatening shots made the Seneca defense in chaos. The ball bounced off the goalpost and flew towards the bottom line. However, just when everyone mistakenly thought that the football was about to fly out of the bottom line, a figure suddenly came out sideways and saved the football from the edge line. Jiang Ning's eyes were like electricity, and after glancing at it, through the eyes of the eagle, he could determine that the football was not completely beyond the bottom line. Depay saved the ball, and at this time, when Seneca's defense line was in turmoil, Depay quickly passed the ball to the unmarked Jang. Shout. Jang almost subconsciously raised his foot and sent the ball into the goal. 2:0. Jiang Ning signaled, the goal is effective. Helengua scored his second goal in the 41st minute of the first half. At this time, in the Huaxia studio. Sudong, the ball is in. Sudong, it was Jang of the Helen team who scored, and the score came to 2:00. Sudong, now that the first half is about to end, I don't know if I can bring us another surprise before the end. Wu Lei, the situation in Senegal is not optimistic, and the role of Main's sharp knife has not been played at all. Sudong, Main should be a little restrained. Wu Lei, in fact, Main can completely let go of the kick. Don't forget, the referee of this game is Jiang Ning. Wu Lei, the existence of Jiang Ning. For those players who have careful thinking on the scene, the oppression is huge. Sudong, yes, let's also look forward to Jiang Ning's wonderful penalty in the next game. Episode 26, Helengua extended the score. The fans of Helen country at the scene let out a deafening celebration. 2 goals ahead, they have seen victory beckoning to Helengua. According to the situation in the group stage, as long as you successfully win Seneca, then the next game will be much better. There is a good chance of qualifying for the group stage. That said, they are likely to advance to the semifinals next. One step closer to the uncrowned king to the top again. Thinking of this, the fans of Helen country were even more free and celebrated wildly. And here in Senegal, it is a bleak place. The fans didn't blame the players, because they knew that the players were working hard and had worked hard. The gap in strength is a problem, Main is too stared at, and their lack of firepower is also a problem. Beep. With Jiang Ning's whistle, the game continued. Seneca holds the ball. It can be clearly felt that the Seneca players are a little anxious after conceding 2 goals. Both the speed of the advance and the number of troops invested in the offensive have increased. Main. 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 At this time, the fans of Seneca also organized and called Main's name. They all know that in this situation, the only person who can step up and save the team is Main. Main heard the call of the fans, gritted his teeth and clenched his fists tightly. In the next few minutes, Seneca managed the ball well and maintained its offensive against Helen. And Helengua seems to intend to maintain his current advantage and drag the game into the second half. Entering the second half with this advantage will have a huge impact on tactical deployment and on the morale of the opponent. Therefore, Helengua's already strong defense became even more ferocious. Soon, the regular game time for the first half was coming to an end. Jiang Ning gestured a 4 gesture to the assistant referee and signaled 4 minutes of first half stoppage time. Seneca's offensive was still ferocious, and in the last few minutes they committed a lot of troops, and players from both sides were crowded in the half of Helen country. Especially these last 4 minutes, almost the fiercest offensive and defensive battle in the entire first half. Fans on both sides are shouting wildly, wave after wave. It's time for the last minute of first half stoppage time. Main. At the last moment, Diata finally broke through the defense after playing with his teammates. Diata shouted, raised his foot, and was about to pass the ball to Main, who was looking for an opportunity in the middle. However, at this moment, the eyes of the players of Helen country instantly turned fierce. Because at this time Diata has successfully got rid of the defenders, and now it is impossible to intercept Diata's pass. So, since you can't stop the pass, put down Main. The advantage gained by Helen country must be retained until the second half. Thinking of this, one of the defenders closest to Main directly pretended to be in a position, and then violently knocked down Main from behind. And the most important thing is that when the football is not at the feet, or when the football is not passed, even if he violates Main, most likely, he will not eat cards. Why? The reason is simple, because it is not important. Because of this foul, there is no direct intervention in the attack. This is why this defender dares to do it even if he has a yellow card on his back. Coupled with the fact that he also pretended to be in the card slot, it is completely an excuse to say that this is an accident. Thinking of this, the defender couldn't help but sneer in his heart. Aren't you very good at Jiang Ning? What can you do with me for this kind of foul? Wow. Seeing Main knocked down again, the fans couldn't help but show nervous looks. Especially when I saw that Main stumbled to his feet at the first time despite falling, and only had football in his eyes, he was even more distressed. Some female fans, with tears in their eyes, shouted don't, and couldn't bear to see Main being bullied like this. Even, some female fans shouted in the direction of Jiang Ning. Referee, please, can you save Main? What an injustice. Main, what did he do wrong again? Referee, we need your fair penalty. At this time, some male fans sighed and said to them, don't shout, most likely, the referee will not decide, because the ball has not yet come out, it is not considered to block our attack. Ordinary referees don't sound the whistle. Beep. However, before his words were finished, Jiang Ning's whistle had already sounded. Jiang Ning ran quickly, and in the shocked eyes of everyone, he took out a yellow card. Immediately after, the yellow card is put away and the red card is presented. This means that 2 yellow cards accumulated in a single game are counted as red cards and are directly sent off. It is also commonly known as 2 yellows become 1 red. This Helen was defensive player was forcibly sent off by Jiang Ning. Wow. The audience was stunned, followed by an outcry. Those who know the ball and do not understand the ball are all shocked. Senica fans were pleasantly surprised. Female fan, did he hear my prayer just now? Male fan, no, I take back what I just said, he is an impartial referee and deserves the respect of fans all over the world. The head coach of Heilongguo was furious and immediately rushed to the 4th official to complain. It's so serious. It's terrible, he's making a random judgment. The football is not under the feet, just a physical confrontation. On what basis? Complaint, I will definitely complain about him. FIFA will definitely fire him. In addition to the head coach, the players of Heilongguo also surrounded one after another. They and Jiang Ning theorized that they tried to use physical confrontation to get Jiang Ning to withdraw the sentence. Only Main, his body froze in place. He looked at Jiang Ning in shock, there was an inexplicable light flickering in his eyes, that light was gratitude and respect. Main is well aware that when faced with such a foul, normal referees turn a blind eye, at most a verbal warning. But Jiang Ning was punished. Echoing his words, in this arena where I enforce the law, there is no room for the slightest bit of darkness. At this time, Main really realized that it turned out that he was not just talking, but really doing what he said. He looked at Jiang Ning, who looked indifferent in the field, and muttered to himself. Referee Jiang Ning. Maybe, I can really trust you. So, the second half, let's wait and see. Episode 27. In the field, Jiang Ning's penalty once again caused controversy. Some fans believe that Jiang Ning's penalty is very correct. After all, Main was knocked down, which is a fact for all to see. But more people still feel that Jiang Ning's sentence is unnecessary. Not to mention whether the football has problems at the feet of Main, when the 2 sides are stuck in the position, there is a collision, and it is common to cause falls. Generally, in this case, it is enough to give some verbal warnings and let them pay attention to proportion. But Jiang Ning directly gave a yellow card, and it also caused this Heilongguo player to be directly sent off. The impact is enormous. You know, it's just about to end the first half. With one less person, it is difficult to say whether Heilongguo can maintain this advantage in the second half. It can be said that the appearance of this card may determine how far the Helen national team can go in this World Cup. Therefore, for Jiang Ning's decision, whether it is the players, fans, or the head coach, they are particularly excited. On the field, Jiang Ning looked indifferent, surrounded by a group of Helen country players. He was still calm, and he didn't even have a trace of eye change. We respect you, because you are the referee. But if you arbitrarily judge the punishment, we will definitely complain to you jointly. Do you know what a red card means for a game? Please give us a satisfactory explanation. Soon, several excited Helen players surrounded them. Several people want to give a posture of explanation. This matter will definitely not spare you if you don't explain it clearly. Jiang Ning calmly stretched out his hands and signaled them to be quiet. Immediately afterwards, Jiang Ning issued instructions to the video referee room through the intercom equipment. Please do a video synchronous crosscut when calling up the content of the video channel, combined with the moment of the shot of Senica's number 17 player Diet. In addition, please give this Helen national player a close-up of the eye change before he rammed main, and simulate the line of sight. As soon as Jiang Ning finished saying this, he immediately pointed to the large screen hanging in the field, signaling everyone to wait patiently for the result given by the video judge. At this time, the audience fell silent. Everyone waited, holding their breath. Only the players of Helen country began to look gloomy. The tactics against Maine were set before the game, and they knew more or less what was going on. It's just that they didn't expect Jiang Ning to give such a severe penalty, and secondly, they didn't expect Jiang Ning to let the video referee pay attention to the sight of his teammates when they fouled. This is equivalent to grabbing their weaknesses. It didn't take long for the picture just now to be restored and played. In the picture, when Diat bypassed the defenders and shouted at Maine, the defenders of Helen country had already launched and crashed into Maine. You know, at this time, Diat has not actually passed the ball out. That is, he is not fighting for the ball, nor in the card position, but targeting. After all, the ball is still at the feet of Diat. You hit someone, you say you are in the card position to grab the ball? In addition, the second point emphasized by Jiang Ning, sight. The defender's eyes were zoomed in on before he rammed main, and VAR technique drew two dotted lines to assist. As you can see, Diat and the football were on the right side of the penalty area at that time. The defender, as well as Maine, was standing outside the middle of the box. While the defender launched a charge against Maine, the direction his body was facing the center. And most importantly, that close-up of that look. Before the defender started, he not only faced the center, but also stared at Maine fiercely, and did not look at the direction of the so-called football landing point at all. The two dotted lines in the video, one drawn where Diat is located, is the right side of the restricted area. The other is the direction the defender's line of sight is pointing, and the arrow points to Maine. There is a huge gap between where the two dotted lines exist and the direction they are pointing. So, the so-called scrum, the so-called card slot, is pure fart. This is undoubtedly a malicious foul. No further explanation is needed. This penalty is not controversial. Wow. The audience erupted into a violent uproar. Oh my god. Hilengua, how can you? If it weren't for the Jiang Ning referee, I might never have known that there are so many shady things on the football field. This can't be blamed on other referees, it can only be said that the Jiang Ning referee is too professional. Huaxia Studio. Sudong, it's so relieved. I also said before that I expected Jiang Ning to bring us a wonderful penalty, but I didn't expect it to really come. Sudong, Wu Lei, what do you think of this sentence? Wu Lei, I can only say that for the punishment of this kind of foul, maybe only Jiang Ning dares to judge. Sudong, oh? Why, Wu Lei, the reason is very simple. Just now Mr. Sudong, you also saw, the players of Helen Kingdom will fight for reason. Wu Lei, if you can't come up with strong evidence, this matter can't be clear. Wu Lei, and once this matter is complained to FIFA, the referee will also be investigated and warned, which is quite troublesome. Sudong, so it is. Wu Lei nodded, so just now I also pinched a handful of sweat for referee Jiang Ning. Wu Lei, but fortunately, Jiang Ning did not disappoint us. Wu Lei, he used the side of the fouling player before launching the collision as a breakthrough, and this kind of penalty basis is really unheard of. Wu Lei, I believe that this penalty will be written into the FIFA referee training manual and used as a classic case for all referees to learn. Sudong, ha ha ha. Then we Huaxia people really have a long face. Sudong, Jiang Ning is good. We are proud of you. At this time, in the playing field. Under Jiang Ning's strong evidence, the Hilengua players all shut up. They all looked at Jiang Ning with a hint of fear in their eyes. Never seen such a sharp referee. I was able to catch their faults from the line of sight. For a while, they were all a little worried. What should they do in the second half? Can you continue to target Maine? If it continues, with the ability of this referee, I am afraid that all the defensive players will have to eat cards. On the sidelines, the head coach of Hilengua froze in place. Just now, the momentum of his shouting protests and complaints was gone, replaced by a solemn face. At this moment, he felt ridiculous. Because, for the first time in so many years of coaching, he thought about how to arrange tactics to deal with a referee. Episode 28, Beep. Jiang Ning whistled, and the game continued. Although the 4-minute stoppage time of the first half was exceeded, according to the rules of football, it was necessary to complete the free kick. The goal was still given to Maine. It's just that this position is too close to the goal, almost on the line of the penalty area. Therefore, even Maine still failed to make a difference in this free kick. Beep. Beep. After Maine took the free kick, Jiang Ning blew the whistle for the end of the first half. Players from both sides began to slowly leave the field. The players of Helen country hung their heads and shrugged their heads without saying a word. If you don't know what happened just now, you will think this scene is very weird. Because Helen country is 2 o'clock ahead of Senegal at this time. But it seems, how is it like losing the game 1-1? And all this is because of Jiang Ning's sharp judgment just now. With one less person, it is already difficult for them to guarantee an advantage. What's more, the existence of Jiang Ning will make it very difficult for them to target Maine. This is not good news. Maine, let's go, what are you doing stunned? The players of Senica were also slowly walking to the sidelines, but Maine stood in place stunned, staring at Jiang Ning's back with hot eyes. This man made him feel that he had found something to rely on. At this moment, an unprecedented fighting intent ignited in his heart. Jiang Ning's punishment represents justice and dispels the darkness. With the existence of such a referee as Jiang Ning, he can truly show his talent in the game. Maine only felt that his body was full of power. At this moment, he just wants to run, to rush, to score goals, to win games, for the honor of the country. Here it comes. Maine answered, then withdrew his gaze and strode towards the outside. Diata glanced at Maine in surprise. As an old teammate for many years, he seemed to feel that Maine at this moment had become a little different. Intermission. The World Cup cheerleaders entered the arena. The enthusiastic dance, hot body, and enthusiasm calmed the emotions of the fans. Jiang Ning walked to the sidelines, and under Oria's adoring eyes, he entered the referee's lounge at the same time. However, what he did not notice was that at this time, above the stands, a certain senior FIFA official was casting an interested gaze at him. Jiang Ning? From Huasha, Helen national team half-field lounge. There was silence. The defender who was sent off sat in the corner, a towel covering his face, and did not say a word. Because of the red card, he will not be allowed to play the next game. For a footballer, the World Cup, which has been waiting for 4 years, is the arena they dream of. Fans all over the world are watching here, and it's their best chance to emerge and be recognized. If you perform well, maybe you will be seen by a top club and you will be brilliant ever since. So, every game is important for them. If he loses his qualification for the next game, he loses an opportunity to show himself. The other teammates didn't know how to comfort him for a while, and the atmosphere in the lounge seemed a little depressed. Guys, cheer up. At the moment we are 2 goals ahead, it shouldn't be like this, understand? At this time, the head coach of Helen walked in. One less person does not mean that you will lose. In the history of football, are there fewer examples of winning by big points because of a red card? At this time, you need to show the determination and fighting spirit to win. The head coach of Helen said excitedly that he did this to motivate the players and make them have the determination to break the cauldron. Coach, you arrange tactics. The Helen national player said. Well, that's a bit of a footballer. In the second half, a few in the midfield, you need to find a way to keep a person, this person is crucial. Coach Helen stood at the center of the players and came up with an excellent tactic after some thought. Who? Diata or Sal? The players speculated that it was these two who had the strength of the opposing players. If you defend them, that's absolutely fine. No, it's referee Jiang Ning, the head coach said loudly. Meanwhile, inside the lounge of Seneca. The atmosphere here is also a bit dignified. Although at the last moment of the first half, Jiang Ning's penalty made them breathe a bad breath. However, they are still 2 goals behind. If this match cannot be scored on Hilangua, then they must win all the remaining 2 games in the group stage to guarantee the qualification. This is undoubtedly a huge difficulty. Therefore, at this time, all the players felt a huge pressure in their hearts. Everyone. It was at this moment that Maine stood up. All his teammates looked at him with puzzled looks. In the second half, please pass me as many passes as possible. Hiss. The teammates showed a surprised look. This is the first time Maine has said such a thing, although it is a request, but in the tone, there is an undoubted firmness. Maine, can you? Helen Kingdom has been targeting you. Asked Diata worriedly. Trust me. In Maine's mind, Jiang Ning's figure flashed, and his eyes became more firm than ever. I won't let everyone down. As time passed, the intermission ended. Players from both sides are back on the field. Beep. Beep. After Jiang Ning calculated the time, he decisively blew the whistle, and the second half of the game officially began. Because Main's free kick was previously confiscated by the goalkeeper of Helen country, the ball now belongs to Helen country. Helen country holds the ball and approaches Senica. Although Helen country has one less person, it does not adopt conservative tactics, but is more radical and invests more strength in the offensive end. Shout. The Helen national player rushed in, and the football was hoisted into the sky above the Seneca national penalty area. It's still a high. I want to use the advantage of height to penetrate the defense of Senegal. But this time, Seneca was vigilant, jammed the position in advance, stopped the ball, and handed it to the feet of Diota. Rush, Main. Diota kicked the football high into the air with a big foot. Roar. Main roared, like a cheetah, and rushed out like lightning. The players of Helen country looked fierce, they remembered the coach's words, and the target of Main must be maintained. Shout. 3 defenders quickly caught up. At the same time, several midfielders of Helen country made unusual moves. Instead of rushing back to defend, they leaned in the direction of Jiang Ning. Episode 29, Main rushed to the opposing goal. The 3 defenders of Helen country chased after him. However, Main's speed is top-notch, and when he runs at full strength, he is as fast as a cheetah. It's not an easy task to stop Main. At the same time, the 3 midfielders of Helen at this time, did not help intercept Main, but approached the location where Jiang Ning was. Their plan is simple, that is, to influence Jiang Ning's sentence. According to the manager's deployment at halftime, they have to contain Jiang Ning and create opportunities for the teammates who are responsible for defending Main. Because they don't want to let Main go. Now, they have one less person, and it is even more impossible to let Main play freely. The plan of the 3 midfielders is to block Jiang Ning's line of sight, plus distract Jiang Ning. If there is a major foul, they can draw Jiang Ning's attention by, for example, falling, or other minor fouls. After all, many times, a foul is just a moment. As long as Jiang Ning can be distracted in that moment, then he is likely to be unable to determine the weight of the penalty. Just like the previous collision, if Jiang Ning was slightly distracted at that time, I am afraid that he would not be able to grasp the loophole in his sight. But imagination is always the best. Facts, but they were blown away. Because in just the blink of an eye, Jiang Ning distanced himself from them. What? This speed? The 3 midfielders showed shocked looks, and when they saw Jiang Ning, who was riding in the dust, a sense of frustration rose in their hearts. Interference? Occlusion? Want to fart it? Can't catch up, who are you interfering with? Shout. I saw Jiang Ning's figure accelerate in vain, and almost the moment Main launched, he was keenly aware of it and caught up. As a referee, he has strong insight and anticipation ability. Main almost made a single knife with the ball, which is when fouls are very easy to get, and he naturally has to keep up and pay attention to the every move of the 4. This also led to the fact that Helen the midfielders who tried to step forward to interfere with Jiang Ning, could only look at Jiang Ning's back and sigh. What a thing. A referee runs faster than a professional footballer, kidding? The 3 looked at each other, and a sense of powerlessness surged in their hearts. What can be done? You can't catch up, all deployments are just a joke. Shout. At this time, Main had already come to the half of Helen country with the ball and rushed towards the penalty area. The goalkeeper of Helen Kingdom was like a big enemy, opening his hands and looking nervous. The 3 defenders are anxious to let Main into the box, and if they let Main into the box, then another foul is likely to award a penalty. So, one of them gritted his teeth fiercely, quickened his pace, instantly stepped out, and poked out from behind Main. This kick seems to be running for the ball, but in the process of running at extreme speed, the distance between the legs is only a little, and it is inevitable to trip over. Boom. Main tripped and slammed his body on the grass, sliding forward for several meters, before stopping. And this defender also fell to the ground. Beep. The shrill whistle sounded, Jiang Ning ran and took out the yellow card. The players of Helen country looked gloomy and did not dare to speak more. However, their eyes looked coldly at the 3 midfielders. With Jiang Ning's penalty style, they also have nothing to say when they eat cards. However, haven't 3 midfielders been arranged to interfere with Jiang Ning? Where did the interference go? Why are the 3 of you still standing stupidly behind, but Jiang Ning has caught up? The 3 midfielders looked bitter, they were bitter and couldn't say it. If you have the ability, you guys will try it? Then you will know how scary this referee is. Free kick. Jiang Ning pointed to the ground and awarded Seneca a free kick. So far in the game, Jiang Ning has shown a total of 6 yellow cards. 5 of them were awarded to Helen. Get rid of the player who has already been sent off, which means that 3 of the 10 players in the field today have yellow cards on them. If these 3 people foul again, they will face the terrible situation of being sent off again. By this time, Main had risen from the ground. He extended his thumb to Diota and signaled that it was a second pass, but he couldn't score himself. However, although he was violated, put down, and the counterattack was interrupted, a long-lost smile appeared on his face. It's a confident smile. Because Jiang Ning is worthy of his trust. As long as he was there, the darkness on the pitch was dispelled. Foul? Infringe? There is a Jiang Ning referee, do you dare? A few more times, and your defenders will be sent off. There's still plenty of time left to play, and Maine has plenty of chances. Jiang Ning, give him enough confidence. And Maine's smile also made the Seneca players feel a little relieved. He is the soul of Seneca, and his smile can make the whole team full of fighting spirit. Beep. Jiang Ning gave a whistle, and the free kick was sent off. It's just that this position is still some distance from the goal, and Seneca chose to let Sar take the penalty. Boom. Sal kicked a pass, and both players immediately scramble. And Helen's height advantage was also reflected at this moment, taking the high point and then giving the ball to the goalkeeper. After losing the attacking possession, Seneca immediately returned to defense. We still have time, step by step, everyone cheer up. It's just 2 balls, don't care. Maine shouted at the players. At this moment, the teammates felt that the soul of Seneca, the former Maine, was back. Hey, what are you 3 doing? Didn't you guys stare at Jiang Ning? What are you doing? Helen was 3 midfielders came to the sidelines with the ball, and the head coach immediately scolded the 3. All 3 midfielders were on the verge of crying. Coach, that Jiang Ning is too fast, we can't catch up. There is no way to do it, he is really terrible. The game continues. In the opening 10 minutes of the second half, the 2 sides constantly switched attack and defense. Although Helen will lacks 1 player, it is still tough defensively, and it is not easy for Seneca to pry open their doors. Maine's eyes were like electricity, observing the movements of the audience. He needs a chance. At this time, Sal had already obtained the ball and turned it off the right wing where Diata was. Maine's eyes lit up. Here's your chance. Diata, give it to me. Shout. Diata naturally trusted Maine extremely and passed the ball out in an instant. The football drew an arc in the air and rushed to the goal of Helen country. Episode 30, Diata sends the pass. The football goes straight to the goal from the right wing. And the ball has a very strong rotation and change of direction in the air, almost like a parenthesis, drawn up. Maine's eyes were bright and he immediately launched a forward charge. The 3 defenders who were in charge of staring at him also stared at him and hurried to follow. But at this moment, Maine suddenly paused under his feet. Boom. The defenders behind him collided with him straight, and the 2 fell to the ground. And football, because of Maine's just right meal, crossed in front of Maine. At this time, someone cast his gaze towards Jiang Ning. Jiang Ning, on the other hand, raised his arms forward, signaling that the attack was advantageous, and the game continued. In general, when attacking, if someone falls, without affecting the attack, and not in serious cases, the referee can judge for himself whether it is advantageous to attack. When judged to be advantageous for the attack, the referee will give instructions with both arms in front of the game without interrupting the game. As for the fall of Maine and the other party just now, Jiang Ning, who had mastered the eagle's eye skill, naturally saw it clearly. Maine's sudden pause and missed the football is not a foul, it is just a tactic, and it is common in football. And the defender behind him crashed, but he just couldn't break. After all, in the forbidden area, it is common for their own people to hit their own people, not to mention both the offensive and defensive sides. Therefore, Jiang Ning's sentence is justified and extremely accurate. There was no prejudice, because of Helen's previous targeting of Maine. The word justice has always been imprinted in the most conspicuous place in his heart. At this time, because of Maine's feet, the football had crossed directly in front of the goal and came to the left side. And on the left, there is the left winger of Seneca country, Sal. Sal reacted extremely quickly, instantly raised his foot, and was about to hit the door. Maine smiled. Everything just now is the embodiment of his on-the-spot adaptability. When he launched, out of the corner of his eye, he could already see that Sal was also rushing in from the left wing. In addition, he is already very well targeted, and if he raises his foot to shoot, he will inevitably need to go head-to-head with the opposing goalkeeper. Since this is the case, it is better to make a fake move, deceive everyone and provide Sal with a chance. Don't forget, Maine is not only a shooter, but also has a great ability to organize attacks. His talent is definitely more than attacking. Feeling, talent and imagination for football, Maine is excellent. When he could let go of his hands and feet, his talents were brought to play. Wow. The audience stood up excitedly. Sal lifts his foot, shoots, and does it in one go. His appearance obviously exceeded the expectations of the defenders. So he has no one to watch. Shout. The football rushed to the goal of Helen country like a cannonball. Boom. At this moment, the goalkeeper of Helen country reacted amazingly. The moment Sal raised his foot, he had already relied on his instinctive reaction, directly fell down, opened his feet, and blocked the opponent's goal route to the greatest extent. The football was blocked by the goalkeeper's foot, and immediately a player from Helen country kicked the ball out of the bottom line. Ugh. The Seneca fans sighed in disappointment. What a great opportunity. But this is football. It is not that if you have a good chance, you must be able to score, nor if you have a bad chance, you must have no hope. Football is round and anything is possible. However, this cooperation just now is indeed wonderful. The most eye-catching is undoubtedly Maine. Just one pause from him posed a huge threat to Helen's goal. Had it not been for the goalkeeper's divine save, the score might have been rewritten. But anyway, it's a huge incentive for Senegal. Because the former Maine is back. Beep. Jiang Ning pointed to the corner of the court, the corner kick of Seneca country. The corner kick was still given to Diata. Both players were pushing and shoving each other in the box, both trying to grab the best position, and the smell of gunpowder was fierce. Jiang Ning just swept his eyes, and the players on both sides became honest. The sharp and cold eyes like an eagle are too intimidating. If it's because of this kind of petty foul to eat cards, then it's really reasonable and nowhere to go. Diata took a deep breath and looked at his teammates in the box, seemingly looking for a breakthrough. Just when everyone was on high alert, Diata gently pushed the football to the feet of a teammate next to him. The teammate willingly, after getting the pass, did not stop, directly kicked the pass, and fished the ball towards the goal. Tactical corner kicks. The advantage of this is that it can instantly divert the opponent's attention and quickly pass the ball high again when the opponent shifts his attention from the position in the air to the bottom. In the end, it is still a deceptive method of feinting. But in football games, offensive and defensive transitions are only in a split second. Even if the opponent only has such a momentary distraction, it is enough for them to have a slight advantage. Shout. The football flew high into the air. Maine is still stared at to death, and his presence has restrained several defenders. And because of this, other teammates have a chance. The players of Senegal jumped high and beat the crowd of Helen players with an average height better than them, and pushed the football headlong towards the goal. It's a pity that this ball is slightly deflected, that is, it is close to the edge of the goal and flies out of the bottom line. Wow. The audience exclaimed. Another very threatening shot. In just 3 minutes, the Seneca country seemed to have been resurrected, chasing and beating the Helen country. The Seneca fans erupted into applause. Despite not scoring goals, such a wonderful attack is already commendable. At this time, in the Huasha studio. Sudong, oops. What a pity. The football is slightly off. Wu Lei, yes, it's only a little bit worse. Helen Kingdom was very dangerous just now. Sudong, Wu Lei, do you feel it? It seems that suddenly the whole team has come to life in Senegal. Sudong, not only has the style of play become flexible, but the attack is also fierce, which is very different from the first half. Wu Lei, I was about to say it just now. I think the reason why Senegal has been able to make such a change is because Maine has completely let go. Wu Lei, because of the existence of Jiang Ning, Maine's mentality has obviously changed, the whole person's mental state is different, and the ball style is also a lot more flexible. Wu Lei, the impact of Maine's changes on Senegal is huge. Sudong, haha. If you say so, it is equivalent to Jiang Ning saving the country of Seneca? Wu Lei, it was Jiang Ning's justice that saved them. Wu Lei, shortly after the start of the second half, Seneca has already caused several very threatening attacks on Helen country. Wu Lei, I have a hunch that it is getting closer and closer to the Seneca goal. Sudong, let's wait and see.